Welcome to WIN, the Innovation Roundtable, the podcast that explores the dynamic world of innovation, creativity, and groundbreaking ideas. I'm your host, Luiz Aragon, WIN Director of the Business Council of Westchester. I am delighted to have two amazing guests with us here today. George Poth from Regeneron. He is the VP Real Estate and Facilities Management for Regeneron, and Lucas Barnes, who is the co-founder of Last 20. So before we begin, let's give a little bit of a background here on our guests. First, George here representing Regeneron. If you don't know Regeneron, Regeneron is the leading biotech company that invests in life-transforming medicines. And what's amazing is they're located right here in our very own Westchester. They've been here for the past 35 years. They employ over 14,000 employees, and they've been a member of the Business Council for the past 15 years. If that's not commitment, it's amazing. They realize how important the Business Council is to our county. And their growth has really been the underpinning for Westchester's economic development. And they have such an amazing focus on sustainability in our county. So, George, I just want to turn to you for a second for you to say a few words about Regeneron and about your commitment to sustainability.
Yeah, thank you, Louise, and good morning. So let me just kind of add a little bit more commentary to that and talk a little bit about Regeneron's mission, right? At Regeneron, our mission is, as you mentioned, is to bring important new medicines to people with serious diseases. And interestingly enough, Regeneron was founded and is led by physician scientists, emphasizing a deep passion for science, which influences everything we do, which includes leveraging our expertise to benefit society, benefit the economy, and of course the environment. Through the efforts that are centered around our CEO Len Schleifer's philosophy of do well by doing good.
It's amazing to have you guys in our county. We're so very lucky. So now here we come with the Business Council, with the WIN program, where we're seeking innovators from all over the world and trying to match them with businesses in our county to try out their innovation. So I get a call one day from Professor Laura Allen from Wilfrid Laurier University in Canada. They're located in Waterloo. And Laura told me that she had this really incredible brother and sister team that had created a company called Last 20. And she introduced me to both Lucas and Lauren, and to talk about their innovation. And I was really taken aback by their approach to sustainability and the way that they were really creating an asphalt mix that was essentially recycled plastic. We thought that was so very intriguing. And I have to tell you, I didn't know much about paving back then. And right now, I probably know a little too much about paving. Lucas, thank you very much. But it's been a really very interesting and exciting exercise that we had with Lucas and Lauren to bring their innovation and their idea to the U.S. We thought was just going to be easy, 1, 2, 3, bring them here, put the pavement on the ground and try it out. And soon we realized that we had to do a lot of homework. And the Business Council stepped up and put together a team of experts to help Lucas. So we worked with advanced testing, which help us be in compliance with New York State regulations regarding the paving. And then we needed somebody to actually produce the asphalt mix. And Theo Industries stepped up and produced the asphalt for the pilot. So we're so very lucky to do that. And it just so happened that Regeneron is doing an expansion of the campus that required a lot of the parking lots to be paved. And that's where we made the match between Last 20 and Regeneron. So, Lucas, I'm going to turn to you, but I'm just, for a second, I want you to talk to folks about um, the amount of, this is so incredible, 200,000 used plastic bags. With the amount of recycled plastic that was used as part of the asphalt mix that was used for the parking lots at Regeneron. So, Lucas, let me turn back to you and tell us about your journey with the Business Council WIN program.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having us. And yeah, just to give a bit of background, this was obviously an amazing experience. Connected through Laura Allen, and she let us know that Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo was connecting with Business Council of Westchester, and it just seemed like a fantastic way to partner with leading businesses and see if you can collaborate to help, grow your business and expand further, get some exposure into the U.S. And getting partnered with Regeneron was a dream come true. It was really fantastic to work with them and all the partners that they had. I guess to give a bit of background on this project in particular, and at a high level, like plastic pavement, we predominantly use LDPE plastic material in the mix design, so low density polyethylene, and that's predominantly used in film plastics. So plastic bags are a good way to visualize the quantity of plastic. And so in this case, we had approximately 1.1 tons, so about 3,000 pounds of plastic material that was used in the mix, which equates to approximately 200,000 plastic bags. And so, yeah, this is an amazing feat. We were really excited to work with Regeneron, and this was a great way to pilot the technology in the US market. And overall, just had a great experience and great execution with all the parties involved.
But before that, Lucas, before we actually got to putting the asphalt down,
Right.
you spent a long time with advanced testing at AO Industries, right?
Yeah.
To get things right. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it was about a year and a half total from like the time when we initially connected to Regeneron to actually getting the pavement put in place. I'm blanking a little bit on the timeline, but yeah, it was a really lengthy process in part and for good reason. Obviously, using something like pavement or asphalt in the public, and I know in this case it's private property of Regeneron for their campus, but anytime you're doing infrastructure work, you want to make sure, all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Like, you're not messing around here. And with, a relatively novel technology of incorporating plastic into pavement, we wanted to make sure everything was in good order. So we were, fortunate to be partnered with Advanced Testing. They were the engineering firm that was going to be involved in a lot of these projects for expansion with Regeneron. And so we spent a lot of time with them getting samples of the plastic material that we were going to use, conducting testing to make sure that it was compliant with the state of New York for that project. And then from a durability perspective, we wanted to make sure that it was tracking on par with conventional pavement. Just so that way, again, all the stakeholders involved were confident that we could actually use this in this pilot project. And so there's a lot of back and forth, working with the engineering firm, making sure all the testing and the data came through correctly. And then when it actually came to the execution of it, working with Fails, that was, another big crucial component where, again, this is a novel material. They're unfamiliar with using it, within their conventional process. So we had to work with them to figure out how we were going to add this plastic material into the project to make sure we got the highest quality results. And so, again, a combination of working with all these different parties to actually execute, a conventional pavement job. There was just another layer of complexity on top of all of that. And so that's what led to, a bit of a lengthier process, but all things considered, we got things done. It checked all the boxes, and we're really happy with the overall execution.
I know it was a fantastic journey. Now, George, turning it over to you, do you, in terms of your sustainability goals for Regeneron, I'm going to have to say that, or I imagine that this exercise has helped you achieve those goals. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, protecting the health of the planet is closely tied to our mission, as I mentioned earlier, recognizing the impact of climate change on diseases like respiratory and cardiovascular conditions. relative to our goals, in 2020, we launched very ambitious environmental targets, which include reducing emissions, waste management, and efficient water usage, with initiatives like achieving 100% renewable electricity by 2035 and successfully diverting nearly 100% of our waste stream from the landfills, and implementing a global water mapping strategy aimed at reducing our overall water consumption. So, in addition to our targeted goals, I am so very proud to share that for the fifth consecutive year, Regeneron has been on the Dow Jones Sustainability World Index, and for the fourth consecutive year on the Dow Jones Sustainable North American Index. And this group represents essentially the top 10% of the largest 2,500 companies in the S&P Global PMI, based on long-term economic, environmental, and social criteria. So we're very proud of that. And operationally, kind of in my wheelhouse, we here at Regeneron, our facilities are also designed to minimize environmental impact and to support sustainable growth, clearly underscoring our dedication to environmental stewardship. Now, some of the designs of our new buildings here on campus that are actually going up as we speak, we have a Tier 4 emergency generator for demand power. We have solar panels on the rooftops of our new locations as well, our new buildings. We're using high-tech electrochromic glass, which essentially is a glass that reduces solar heat gain inside the buildings, and also covered parking, underground parking structures to reduce the heat island effect. So, we're real excited about some of the things that we're doing. This is just a kind of a snapshot of what we're doing. There's a whole host of other things that we're doing as well, but tying in what we're doing with Last 20 to our environmental goals, I mean, it was just an absolute perfect match.
That's so great, George. I think Regeneron set such an amazing example for other businesses to follow in Westchester County. I want to thank you for your commitment to sustainability and to our planet. Now, Lucas, let me turn back to you on the Last 20 story here for a second. So tell me if I have this correct. You and Lauren, your sister, started this Last 20 as a clothing company with clothing made out of recycled plastic, right? So then you pivoted to looking at asphalt and creating the sustainable mix. And your experience in doing so led you to pivot once again and now add a plug-in-and-play design of a feeding technology, I guess, right? For the asphalt plant. So can you talk a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's a story of a lot of startups is you have a problem that you're trying to work towards, and oftentimes what you initially set out to do is going to change, throughout the entire story. So yeah, just brief background. Lauren and I both attended Wilfrid Laurier's business program, and this was actually a project that stemmed out of, it's called the New Venture Competition, that first year start. So at the time, our focus was on a clothing brand where we wanted to create clothing products that were made from recycled plastic material. And at the tail end of Lauren's fourth year, we decided to see how we can make a grander impact. Not to say that clothing was a bad endeavor. It's just that we wanted to see where we could reduce, a greater amount of plastic, right? One of the stats that gets touted a lot when it comes to plastic waste is less than 9% of all the plastic that's ever been created has been recycled, and the remaining 91% ends up in landfills, waterways, or incineration. And so we knew it was a big problem that we wanted to focus more towards. And both of our parents have backgrounds in construction and infrastructure, and so we wanted to explore avenues where we could take plastic material that would otherwise be, headed for landfills or incineration, and see if we could, we use the term upcycle, but to create greater value out of that plastic material. And we stumbled into a lot of research that was actually coming out of India. And there are other parts in the world as well that were exploring the use of plastic material in pavement. It's a complicated problem just because the plastic quality can vary, across the, from where you're sourcing it from. And creating the optimal mix for the different use cases of pavement is definitely a challenge. And so we focused predominantly on getting the mix right and seeing if this was actually viable within Canada and, in this case with Westchester, and actually trying to see how it would perform in colder climates as well, which there wasn't a lot of research in that space. And then more recently, we're now shifting a lot of our focus on the intellectual property piece because we recognize that in this project with Regeneron, being able to add the plastic material, regardless of the source of it, into the asphalt mix design at scale was a challenge that hadn't really been solved. And so if we wanted to bring this, idea to life and make it more fruitful to take on much larger projects like, highways and more conventional roads beyond parking lots, we knew that problem would have to be solved. And so we spent a lot of time working on how we can create a product that could be used at, agnostic regardless of the plant setup and configuration, a real plug and play solution where there would be minimal training involved, easy to set up, easy to take down, and they could add the plastic material at scale to create whatever batch size that they needed. And so that's been a lot of our focus in the last year post this project with Regeneron.
That's great. And I think it's an important lesson for those of us listening to us and they have an idea and they want to start a business because it evolves, right? It changes. And what I've learned in working with innovators is that you cannot be afraid to fail, right? You have to embrace failure, embrace whatever hurdles you see, and you adapt and you move forward. And that's how you get your product better. Right, and you get ready for market. And that's exactly where the Business Council WIN program comes in, because our goal was to give you that experience in the United States, working with real companies doing the real work and see how you can adapt, how you can change. And I'm so glad that experience led you to adjust what LES 20 is and what LES 20 is going to be in the future. Now, this whole process, Lucas, and please tell me that as you grow in Canada and you decide to come into the U.S. market, we hope that you're going to choose Westchester as your base because, of course, Westchester is the center of the universe, especially in New York State, and that's where we think that would be a perfect location for you to have a base in the United States. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, 100%. And just in the opportunity to be able to visit Westchester and see the investment and just the opportunity around there. There's obviously companies like Regeneron that are expanding quite aggressively in the area. Like it's a fantastic place to set up shop if you're going to be entering the U.S. market, and it's definitely where LES 20 would call home when we're ready to enter the U.S. market on a more permanent level.
All right, well, I'm already looking for an office for you. There you go. So we are so grateful for Regeneron, for embracing this pilot, for advanced testing, to stepping up and helping us with the regulations for Teo Industries, to actually producing the asphalt. And we are so proud of the Business Council to have been able to put this team together to work with you, Lucas. I'm so grateful for Laura Allen from Laurier University for having introduced us. And we hope that in the very near future, you will be opening your office here in our county because we want to have you. So thank you, Lucas. Thank you, George, for your time. And thank you for supporting the Business Council WIN program.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Again, just to echo everything that we talked about, it's been a fantastic experience. I recommend any business if they have the opportunity to explore working with BCW. It was just, again, can't thank you guys enough for all the relationships and experience overall.
Thank you, guys.